Hello, tubers. How are you today? Well, today I wanted to go over another passage in the Bible. This passage will be in the book of Matthew, verse 14, chapters 22 through 26. This is coming from a website called BibleGateway.com. And this is talking about Jesus walks on the water. It starts like this. Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on the mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night, he was there alone, and the boat was already a considerable distance from the land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, "tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and beginning to sink, cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly you are the Son of God." Okay, so let's go over this particular passage. Um, on top of the obvious of Jesus walking on the water and proving that he is the Son of God, there's a more of a insightful part in this particular passage. And the insightful part of it to me is this. Um, when you get down to where Peter calls out to Jesus, says, "Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water." And then Jesus said, "Come." And then when Peter started walking out on the boat, he walked out of the boat and walked on the water. I can imagine him walking on the water and looking at Jesus. And as he's walking on the water, he kept his eyes on Jesus, and he was walking on the water. Praise God. And but when he saw the wind, he became afraid and began to sink. And that's when he cried out, "Lord, save me." And I think that that's where it's very powerful in this particular passage. The fact that he was walking on water, and to it, I would think in retrospect, Peter, when he started walking on the water, he must have been amazed that he was able to walk on the water or walk on water. But this is kind of metaphor. It's a metaphor because the way I look at this is that if we keep our eyes on Jesus, we're gonna be able to walk on water or do whatever it is that we want to do. But when we let our eyes off of Jesus, that's when we start beginning to sink. Yeah, so that's what we have to do in our lives. We have to keep our eyes firmly on Jesus so that we don't become afraid, that we do have the power to walk on water, that we do have the power to live a fruitful life, a happy life, a loving life. So I think this is what we have to do. Keep our eyes on Jesus. And if we are afraid at one time or another, we can cry out to him. And of course, he's going to reach out his hand and catch us. So that's what I feel is the most important part of this passage. Not the fact that Jesus walked on water, That was just an example of what we can do. And then when Peter went out there and was able to walk on water, it just shows to everyone that we are able to walk on water metaphorically, right? Now, we may be able to walk on water. However, it's a metaphor of what we can do in our lives and also for people. So keep your eyes on Jesus. Don't be afraid. And if you are afraid, cry out to Jesus and he'll save you. Okay, everybody. Well, thanks for listening to me. If any questions or comments, please leave them in the down below. And as always, God bless.